pro-tenant and pro-landlord markets. What do you think about Abu Dhabi market?
Their business runs remotely, even in the UK, even in Russia or Moscow, even in Singapore, the Philippines.
To look at the resale policy.
This peer entertainment, this is the second only.
For villas, it takes some time to find a tenant.
2 weeks.
We are talking about how many beds. You can apply and do whatever you want with your property.
I don't see studio as a great choice for investment.
I have another opinion, by the way. Hi, Duke.
Hello, Anfisa. Thank you for inviting me here today for your amazing show.
There is one question that everyone really worries about. How Disneyland affected the price of Yas Island and nearby areas?
Oh, that's a very interesting question. To be honest with you, I have experienced this like in somewhere in May where I had a contract or I had a client who wanted to buy a property in Yas Park View. So we're about to sign a contract or MOU, but suddenly due to the announcement of Disneyland, the sellers backs out and wanted to increase more, 300,000 more. So in general, actually, the announcement of Disneyland brings huge impact to Abu Dhabi real estate, not just entirely for Yas Island, but Yas Island was the one who's really benefiting for this announcement, but throughout the region of Abu Dhabi, even in Saadiyat Island, even in Reem Island, those prices were affected. In terms of the rental, it's not really much because when you talk about the rentals is more likely what's present in the community, in the neighborhood. For example, let's say in Water Edge or Mayan or somewhere like West Yas or Yas Park Views in the area, it's basically purely not on the Disneyland, but the supply and demand in the area. So right now we are experiencing very low to limited, like zero supply in Yas Island. That's where the prices really soar. So it jumped 40% and even more for some other apartments in Water Edge. So I've been doing this leasing for 5 years already. Water Edge was before 3 years ago, it was like an average of 50, 55 to 60,000 for a one bed. But now it's impossible to find something like 70,000. It jumped to 90,000, 85,000, or even 110,000 for a fully furnished. So the demand or the prices for rentals really depends on the supply and demand in the area because of the new jobs that been created and a lot more people are coming here. We're not talking about like the old people. Those are young professional within 20, 30 or 30 to 40 and 40 to 50 who brought their whole family to stay here in Abu Dhabi. But for the prices of the sales, it's really astonishing. I was really shocked how this announcement was really brings a lot of impact or big impact to the price of the market. Because before the announcement, the price was, for example, for 4 million and it jumped like 20% from the selling price. So I was surprised a bit, but of course, we know that in the history, areas where they put Disneyland, like Orlando, in Hong Kong, and some other places in the world, it's proven that all the property prices within the area, closer to that amusement or Disneyland, really the prices soar up to even 200%. So we are, now that the people or the sellers are just asking 20% higher from their previous prices, by maybe 5 years or 7 years from now, it might be jumped to 100 to 150,000. It might be doubled. That's what I really thinking or see from this announcement. Yeah.
And the latest opening of Disneyland, it was in 2016 in Shanghai, and before it was 2005 or 2006 in Hong Kong. They are not opening much, so it's really unique.
No, but I mean for the Disneyland to be in the Middle East, to be located in the Middle East, so basically Middle East is just 8 hours flight or 10 hours flight throughout the Europe, Africa, and Asia. So people who doesn't have any opportunity to come other places in America or in Hong Kong or China, they flew here in Abu Dhabi in the Middle East because there are so many flights available in the area in Abu Dhabi or Dubai and who wanted to have the opportunity to visit not just the Disneyland purely, but they were going to build more hotels to accommodate people. And those also properties in the area, they have the opportunity to make their apartment as a short-term rental or Airbnb that will give them more return actually.
What is the population growth in Abu Dhabi as of now?
Wow. Right now we have about We're expecting to have a 3% growth each and every year. So just last year, we just reached the 4 million mark. And if you're talking about numbers, 4 million is a lot of numbers compared to the numbers of apartments or residential apartments in Abu Dhabi. We're just close to 300,000 units right now at the present. So entirely in the whole region of Yas Island, I think we're just about 8,000 units only. That's including ready. I'm talking about ready, but there are so many upcomings that would really solve the problem of the supply that we're experiencing now.
Yes, and I like the example of Water's Edge when we were talking about rental and also about sales. Before Disneyland announcement, one bedroom, it was 1.2 million, 1.3 million. After Disneyland announcement, I saw the transactions in Quanta for 1.45 million dirham. And now, if you check listing portals, it's 1.5 million dirham. And by the way, the building is already 5 years old. And the starting price at the launch, it was like 700 or 800,000 dirham per one bedroom. This is how we see the increase, and it's really fascinating. Why would you recommend somebody who comes to the UAE market to invest in Abu Dhabi now, not in Dubai?
Abu Dhabi is the capital of the UAE. So many have their own different perspective. So if you are really new tourist coming to the UAE, you think that Dubai is the capital. You know, there are so many developments in Dubai. There's so many tourist spots in Dubai. Whenever you think UAE, you have to think about Abu Dhabi first before the Dubai. So this is what the Abu Dhabi vision 2030, not just economically in the market. Right now, if you talk about Abu Dhabi plans, there's so much plans that, you know, even this podcast we cannot finish this in just a matter of an hour or two. But of course, the Sphere was recently announced last 2024 October, the partnership of Sphere Entertainment and the Department of Culture and Tourism, or DCT of Abu Dhabi, is bringing the Sphere Entertainment. This is the second only. They have one in Las Vegas already, but they are bringing Sphere in Abu Dhabi. The good thing about it is that the Sphere Entertainment has a trust with Abu Dhabi government. So meaning to say that whenever they open a business here, it means that they bring more people. There are people coming in the area, and this type of amusement or new scenery in Abu Dhabi is really a big impact for not just for entertainment but also for real estate sector. We have experienced a lot of concerts already in Etihad Arena. So when I came here in 2020, there is not much concerts. Even Coldplay was never been in Abu Dhabi. But of course, now that there's so much activity during the winter period, you know, it's bring UFC to the public, and a lot more bands are coming here. So Sphere is something like expanding or maybe trying to improve the entertainment experience that we are experiencing now with the Etihad Arena.
Yeah, a lot of things coming here.
A lot of things, really a lot of things. And that is really good for the investors because the property prices only soar when there is something happening in the area. If there is nothing, like there is no commitment from Abu Dhabi government to boost the prices in the area, the property will remain stagnant. The prices will still at the same. But because of the Abu Dhabi plans, for me, I trust Abu Dhabi, not the property. So I think that Abu Dhabi would really help the investors not losing the money. There's a lot of growth and developments that we're really expecting in the next coming years.
Absolutely, and I feel like they're doing everything to the max to help investors grow their money because they know that they're gonna come back and invest.
Yeah.
And we have a developer, Aldar, who is on the stock market, and they also care about the company valuation, and they're not gonna do something bad for the investors. And as I see now, for example, Fahid Island, they haven't announced yet anything apart from the school. This is the cool part. Imagine you invest in Yas Island before all the announcements. And this is the same for Fahid that is coming. And I feel like investors now, they are targeting Yas Island and they do not think about other areas.
Yeah.
Which areas, on your opinion, is going to be also affected? The investors should target.
Well, for me, my favorite area would be purely Saadiyat Island. So Saadiyat Island is one of the prime residential area in Abu Dhabi where luxury is available. And even during the pandemic time where I was working already, there was no big impact on the capital appreciation and the property value never go down. But some other sectors in Abu Dhabi were closer to business offices like Reem Island. Those were affected areas during the COVID where rental yields really dropped dramatically and property prices went down. Same thing in Yas Island. So for me, Saadiyat is my favorite. The next will be Yas Island because of the connectivity. It's just 50 minutes drive away to buy. Etihad Rail is coming in 2027. From 50 minutes, drop down to 30 minutes. And then, of course, Ferrari World, the Yas Marina Circuit, the Warner Brothers, and the upcoming Sphere and Disneyland is really something that make the property gives more price or increase in terms of the price. And I wanted to add also the thing that Abu Dhabi Vision is not just about for just purely investor, but they wanted to create a community or neighborhood or a town or a city that brings more family. It's not about just a single person who is just working here and sending money abroad back to his family, but they are putting or they're making something that brings family here. So family, wife and kids, and the schools that there's available in the area, accessible in Yas Island and even in Fahid Island, like bringing King's College is a big thing. This is one of the top 5 schools in the UK, and the King's College have trust to Abu Dhabi to give 2,000 students or enrollees in 2028. So that is really a big thing. That's what I like about Abu Dhabi because they are more centered into family, but they're still thinking about the investor side that they will not lose the money because of the growth, development that they are really making.
I like this point, and I know that you're talking about this point from the position of a father because you are also a
Yeah.
father, and for you, it's also important that this is the safest city.
Exactly. So for me, my personal, like in my family, I don't want to send my son back to Philippines where I came from to study because there is already available good international and renowned school here in Abu Dhabi. That's my goal, to have my family here in the next 10, 20 years or 30 years. Even I see Abu Dhabi as a home now. That's what I love about Abu Dhabi, and I think most of the people really think that Abu Dhabi they can call it a home. Though the weather is kind of bit during the summer, but of course. Where you can see a Warner Brothers or SeaWorld that is AC is running 24/7. Even if you go through summer, you can still go there and bring your kids and they still enjoy the entertainment here in Yas Island.
Absolutely, and we have culture, Louvre Museum,
Definitely.
and Sheikh Zayed Museum is gonna open in December as well.
Right.
So it's kind of entertainment and culture.
Yeah.
And you can live in between these areas, and that's really something that we are experiencing here. It's one of a kind for sure.
Not just that, if they're building the island as Yas Island as an entertainment and Saadiyat is a cultural, Fahid Island, they're building another brand of community. They're building wellness, make sure that the family will have a healthy environment. So Fahid is one of the biggest thing that I love because of the location of the island. It's just between Saadiyat and Yas Island, but they are not focused on the entertainment. They're not focused on culture, but they're focused on the well-being, like to
Wellness Island.
Wellness Island. So you have the second beachfront community in Abu Dhabi. So there is only one beachfront right now, which is Mamsha, but the second will be the Fahid Island. There's no other place in the Abu Dhabi that you will see another beachfront for sure. So if you are international, or if you are a family here now residing in Yas Island or Mamsha, you cannot afford Saadiyat, then Fahid Island is something that you can really look at.
Yeah, that's really exciting, and I can't wait to see what Fahid's gonna bring for us. What if we are talking about the rental yields about different areas? So I have a property in Abu Dhabi, or I'm willing to purchase a property, and the areas they're not the same. The rental index is different. What do you recommend to target?
Well, the highest yield for what I can see right now will be Yas Island, definitely. And the second will be Reem Island, then Raha Beach and Saadiyat. Saadiyat is more into luxury, really, that where's capital growth. But for the rental, if we're just talking about the rental yield, I would love to choose the Yas Island. If you bought a property in Water Edge 3 years ago, you are now getting at least 9% yield. But if you're buying a property now that is ready in Water Edge, you still get something 5 to 7% yield easily. And that is the market that we are experiencing now.
One bedroom now is like 100,000 dirham, right?
Yeah,
For
average
1
will
year.
be 90,000. That's the average market. So if you bought the property like before 4 years ago, then you are now getting a happy 9% to 12% yield. So if you're buying now as present, at least you're still getting 7%.
But what about areas nearby? You mentioned Raha Island.
Yeah.
So, do you recommend also investors to target new project in Raha? I know that ICT is launching a new project as well.
If you're comparing the prices of Yas Island and Raha Beach, if you wanted to have more affordable housing options, then you can target really Raha Beach, because Raha Beach is focused on residentials really. So there are a lot of areas there where they're really popping up, like the project of Brabus, let's say, or ICT. I love canals. So they have a project in the city which is called Marasi. So they're bringing Marasi to the Raha Beach. So for me, when I saw the prices, it's very good choice to buy now, because if you compare it to the prices launching in Yas Island, and if you wanted to save more money, you target Raha Beach. Raha Beach is still 10 minutes drive to Yas Island. You're still closer. So yeah, it's a good choice.
It's the lower entry point.
Lower entry, exactly, Anfisa. So if you are looking for something like a one bed below 1 million, that's the place to.
So I can find
Yes,
one bed.
exactly. You can.
Really?
Yes. So if you're interested, or if you have a client, you can get to let them know that another option that they might see, not in Yas, will be Raha Beach is the next option. It's just 10 minutes drive.
So the closest areas to Yas Island, as we already discussed, Raha,
Yeah.
Fahid Island. What else?
The closest, I think Ramhan is
Ramhan.
the next area. And then if you wanted to have like a very good townhouses or very good villas or apartments, which is also about 20 minutes drive to Yas Island, you can consider the upcoming community, master plan community, which is Bloom Living. This is very close as well to Yas Island. So they provide townhouses and villas. So if you're looking for more space but not closer to the traffics, Bloom Living is the best place to live. I see Bloom Living, that's going to be something everyone's talking about, maybe 2030 or 2029.
I heard that they're gonna have a new launch there.
Mirel, I think. I heard that they're launching a 3 beds, 4 beds villas there. So yeah.
Before they had a villa, 4-bedroom villa for 4.5 million, and now it's totally sold out from the previous launch. And that's what other investors, they targeted it.
Yeah.
And it's very close to the airport. It's just 6 minutes drive to the airport.
Yeah.
So pilots and people who work at the airport, they prefer this community.
Yeah.
And for Yas Island, we see that 3-bedroom is Yas Acres is like 5.2 million on sales, secondary market now. Not everyone is gonna be able to afford Yas Island in the upcoming years, and they're gonna target areas nearby. And it's gonna be like a ripple effect.
Yeah.
So it's gonna affect other areas,
I
even
agree.
Reem Island as well. Even if it's like 25 minutes from Yas Island, right? It's gonna affect Reem Island as well.
Well, the problem with Reem Island is that we don't have a lot of townhouses and villas available in the market. But for those families who wanted more space, privacy, or garden, they wanted to go somewhere in a town to live in a townhouse or a villa. The problem with the Noyas or the Yas North area, the prices are quite expensive. There are still buyers in other categories wherein they can't afford the 4-bedroom, the 4 million 3-bedroom in Noya. So they wanted to find additional or options, which Bloom Living that caters. It's not far. Right now, maybe your first time driving there in the area will be far, but if you're getting used to the drive, it's just 20 minutes from here.
Yeah, it's very close by. And if we're talking about people who live abroad in the big cities like New York or Moscow or any other big cities, for them, 1 hour drive is nothing because of the big cities. And here we have everything very close. Like Abu Dhabi is not that big. We had an investor, she came from India, and she said that we have traffic and it takes like 1 hour to reach any place. And here in Abu Dhabi, there is no traffic, only in some areas with the business community. But generally, you're not experiencing it at all.
Yeah, Abu Dhabi is big. I might disagree with you with Abu Dhabi is not big. Abu Dhabi is the biggest, so it caters like almost 60 or more than half of the entire United Arab Emirates. But their urban planning was astonishing. It was unbelievable how they planned their roads, connectivity, like bridge are popping up everywhere. Like even the Reem Island. There is another bridge that will connect you directly to the cultural district. So instead of 15 minutes drive, it will cut 7 minutes and you'll just reach Saadiyat in just 8 minutes. I believe in Abu Dhabi planning. So right now, maybe Bloom Living will be 20 minutes away from Yas Island, but there might be a chances soon that it might be 10 minutes drive. So with how Abu Dhabi government or urban planning, they map the place, but it's entirely big. But the opportunity for us, like expats or other nationalities to own, is small, right?
And also Etihad rail station is coming.
Yeah, Etihad Rail is going from Yas, Saadiyat, even Reem, and towards the Hudayriyat Island.
That's really nice. Hudayriyat Island. What do you think about Hudayriyat Island, by
Well,
the way?
Hudayriyat Island is one of the biggest in terms of the size for development. So entirely, if you look at the map on the Google Maps, they are extremely large that they can almost cover the whole Abu Dhabi main island. We're talking about the city. So the plan of Hudayriyat is amazing. Like, on the other side, you have all the sports facility, hotels, they're bringing schools, and then of course they're bringing mansions, villas. You cannot find any project in the entire United Arab Emirates there's like a hill for the mansion. So being a unique in terms of the market, there's already a beachfront villas. We have the Hid, we have the upcoming Ramhan. But if you're looking for something like a hill, there's only one place that you can buy if you wanted to buy something you wanted to have a extraordinary view from the villa.
It's like Beverly Hills in Abu Dhabi.
Exactly. So where can you find a villa that has a view or panoramic view of the city or still have the water? That's the only place that you can find now because there is a beachfront which steps away from the beach. You don't have the view. You have the view of the water, but you don't have any view on the community. So that's another thing. And also they're putting up a lot of townhouses and villas in the area because, like I said, why are they building this? Why developers are focusing more on the bigger townhouses and villas? Because they see that families are coming here, not just you or me working here and have my family back home. They're focusing on bringing the family here. That's why the population growth is, we have experienced a very big population growth because of this.
Yeah, that's really fascinating. And I feel that these villa communities, they are in high demand
Yeah.
because they see the potential of resale. And resale is happening not only upon the
Yeah.
handover, but before, during the construction, already people buying because they see that upon the handover, the price is going to be so high. If I have a cash now, I can buy it. But someone who would like to take a mortgage, they are waiting for the handover of the villa.
Yeah.
And once the handover is done, an investor can resell this villa. But the main idea that the demand will be higher because there will be more people willing to take it because of the ability to take a mortgage. And you can even increase the price upon the handover much more.
That's a good thing about the investor. Investors looking to buy an off-plan project like in Hudayriat or Fahid Beach Island, but there are less end users buying off-plan. So investors are benefiting for those customer or clients or niche where more families wanted to buy a ready ones because they can apply for a mortgage. They cannot afford the payment plan. Payment plan usually now that you'll see will be 40%. So you have to pay 60% during the 3 years. Most of the families don't want to risk that. So that's why it's good for the investor because they are getting demand, they are getting clients to buy their investment once it's completed. So for example, in Yas Park View, Yas Acre, there are a lot of investors who bought it 3 years ago, 4 years ago for a very low price, but they are still selling it to the end user because end users use mortgage instead of paying cash or like putting more money as a down payment.
I saw the increase in Yas Acres, it's not even double. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's even triple whatever we see now. And people accordingly like, why didn't you recommend us to buy last year or the year before? The best year to buy is year before, of course.
Well, it's very normal that realizations is after the effect or after what's happened. So you will regret it. Technically, it's a normal thing for the most of the people. Like they don't realize this now, but they will realize this after 3 years. So, but you cannot bring back the clock, or it's just like you realize it. So that's a good thing about Abu Dhabi, where now buyers are flocking here in the area because they realize that those people or agents who are telling them buy now because the property prices are low, they don't believe some other agents who are telling them, because some of the agents don't give value for what they are talking. They're just talking about prices. But what are the things or factors that this property will go up? And now now that we're experiencing in 2025 realization. If you look at the graph or the numbers on how much mortgage Abu Dhabi, I mean, brought to 2025 is astonishing. It's really boost. Mortgage means end users. So that's it. There's no investors. Very last investors are buying with a mortgage, because investors buying cash because they don't want to pay interest. But for end users, they use mortgage because they wanted to live there. They're not buying to rent it out.
But even for an investor is not paying fully 100%. They also can use the payment plan, and they can make premium on what they already paid and resell it during construction as well. And this is also one of the strategy that people are using to flip the property. And I think that there should be the special areas, and you should be very, very picky with what you're gonna invest. And that's why you need a good real estate agent here. And I really love about our company that our brokers, like you, Duke, we are always taking care of the client, of their needs, and we always know what is going to be the next Disneyland.
Yeah, it's not about just buying a property. You have to study about the payment plan. There is always a reason why developers wanted to change the payment plan. Usually before, you can see payment plan like 30%, 30, 70. But now usually some other projects, they're releasing a payment plan which is 50, 60%. Because first of all, they don't want to get some virus in the market. Virus means like those investors just wanted to buy 10% and flip it at the next day. The problem here is that most of the agent not giving proper education to their investors. They think that when you buy a property now, you can just flip it on the next day for 100, 200 premium. That is the misconception. I believe personally is that you have to guide them when to flip,
Of course.
and how much they are going to profiting, because there are so many exaggerated numbers that I've seen in the market. It's an unhealthy market for, not all the brokers do this, but of course, I buy real estate. We've been taught, we've been having a lot of extensive trainings. We know the market very well. We've been very updated every day, every week. So we know how to guide them all the way from putting the down payment to the payment plan, how much they're paying next year, when to flip, when is the next thing happening. So understanding the payment plan. For example, I'll give you an example for Fahid Island. So Aldar is giving a payment plan for 65-35. Why would they not give 20% or 20-80 payment plan? Because they don't want it to have fake buyers, fake investor. They wanted to have a long-term investor to buy their project in Fahid Island, because Fahid Islands brings values not just after 1 year or after 6 months. It brings value after 3 years. For example, King's College, they're opening on 2028 September, right? So that is the first surge of property prices for me. And of course, when they announce where is the location of the Sphere, I think that's going to be another capital growth for those who already invested in Fahid Island, or someone who still wanted to invest in Fahid Island, because we still have very few inventory. I think I've seen there are very few inventory. So that's basically how to understand the payment plan. It's not about all off plan are good. You have to do research about the developer. If the developer is like solely like it's not a master plan, or reputation. How many buildings have they built? What are the comments or feedbacks from those tenants who lives in their building? That's what brings value to Fahid Island.
And also, apart from the payment plan, that's also important, like you highlighted, to look at the resale policy. Some projects, they have resale policy of 30%. And I know one project, they have a resale policy that only after 50% of the construction, the investors can resell. And that's very important to find and understand when you enter any project. If you want to have a quick gains,
Yeah.
it's not gonna work if it's 50%.
It's not. It's
of the
never gonna
construction.
work. It's never gonna work because, for example, in Fahid Island, they have 30% resale. But when you reach 30%, that will take you a year and a half to reach the 30%. So those people just buy for just to pay 10% and they flip it after 2 months or 3 months. They think that there's someone is buying to give them 30% down plus the premium. For me, it's not safe to think like that way. So if you are really looking at a long-term investment and you believe on the development and growth of Abu Dhabi, you are the type of investor that has to invest in Fahid Island. But if you're looking to something like flip it in very shorter time, you have to invest in the areas wherein there is already community. For example, Yas. For example, Reem. For example, in Saadiyat, because the areas or communities there have been built already. There is already feedbacks. There are people living there. People love or families love to stay there.
If you want to receive top 3 projects upcoming on Yas Island, we have insider information. You can contact us and Duke will send you all the details. You see the number in WhatsApp on the video. Please text us. Yeah, that's very important to highlight that we have upcoming projects, and this is also important to understand that off-plan market is very good for capital appreciation. Why would you think people who are investing in Abu Dhabi now should target more off-plan projects rather than ready projects for an investment?
For investor, of course, if you wanted to have more capital growth, off-plan is undeniably the best investment that you can look from. But if you wanted to have cash flow, you want to target something like a ready. So if you have a money park in your bank, and if you wanted to grow and build your asset, go with the off plan because it will give you at least 20%, 30%. But not all the project, just a note that not all the project, you have to carefully understand the project and having a great real estate agent to guide you, like coming from iBuy real estate agents, they can really guide you with the perfect investment. We're not selling anything here. We're selling what we believe and we're selling what we think will give you profit because we are just not looking to sell in one day. We're looking to sell throughout your life.
Yeah, that's very important to
Yeah.
know when you choose a good broker.
Yeah.
I see that the most popular product for an investor in Abu Dhabi is a studio. I want to know about the long-term effect on an investor who buys a studio. I understand it from the rental point of view, but what about the resale for a studio?
If you wanted to get my honest opinion about studios are really good for investor who wanted to have a cash flow. When it comes to appreciation, there will be less demand compared to 2 and 3 beds because 2 and 3 beds caters more a family or end user. But for a studio or 1 beds, you might targeting small market, which means a young professional who wanted to buy a studio right now and then eventually sell it after 4 or 5 years when he met his prince and get married. Of course, they cannot fit in a studio. But most of the time, if you wanted to buy a studio now as an investment, you will target also investors who wanted to have stream of money through rental properties. But I mean, personally, I don't see studio as a great choice for investment. If you wanted to invest, if I will invest myself to a property, then I have to choose 2 or 3.
I have another opinion, by the way.
Yeah.
It's good that we are just exchanging
Yeah,
it
definitely.
and giving another angle. I also believe that 1 bed, 2, 3 bed is the best target, but studio is a good entry point for anyone who'd like to start with something.
Exactly.
And for example, we have a buyer who'd like to take a mortgage and pay for a mortgage instead of a rent. And
Yeah.
for now, there is only cash for a studio.
Yeah.
They buy and mortgage a studio apartment. Once they have extra cash, they upgrade, they resell it, they are buying 1 bedroom. That's just one option. Another option, I believe that there can be single people. We are not talking about families. We have a new generation. And for new generation, it's not easy to build a relationship, as I feel. And some people, they are single. And for them, a studio might be a choice as well. Uh, but the best idea for a studio is just to rent it out, as I believe.
Yeah, if you wanted to really get more money, cash flow, studio and one beds are typically a very good option. It's a starter home that we called. So if you are a new investor who doesn't have a lot of money to invest, you start with a studio and then eventually use your asset, which is a studio, to give income to your property and then eventually sell it and upgrade to a one bed or two bed because of course there's no property that property may go down, the property may go flat, the property may go high. So it's a matter of the time where when are you going to sell it. For example, in Water Edge in Yas Island, a studio there was as low as 645, 670,000 at the time of 4 years ago. But now they are selling 900,000. So I mean, it's still profiting the same amount for a two bed and three bed. But when it comes to demand of buyers, you get more demand on the investors who wanted to start their journey in real estate, or something like a young professional who is just, I mean, they're content with the size, but it grows as well. There's no such thing property that never grows.
Yes, absolutely. And especially this is the best option for Airbnb as well.
Yes, definitely. So
Airbnb, and I believe now we have high demand for Airbnb.
yeah.
And imagine what's going to be in 4 years and 6 years with
High
all the
demand but low
infrastructure.
supply in Airbnb. Even if yourself, I think you have experience looking for Airbnb property in Abu Dhabi, and there is like very less to little or no options that you can find online.
Especially during Formula One.
Yeah, definitely.
During Formula one bedroom is like 4,000 dirham per day for Water's Edge. I think after our podcast we decided that Water's Edge is our favorite project. But basically there is not much projects on Yas Island ready for now. That's why we have upcoming projects, but they're still under construction. That's why everything is targeted for Water's Edge, to give an example. And that's what really fascinates investors, to see
Yeah.
how the market is going to be. And I do believe that apart from just residential buildings, we are also caring about the branded residence.
Yeah.
And this is like the new things coming in Abu Dhabi. I know that Waldorf Astoria is coming as a branded residence. There is Nobu branded residence in Saadiyat.
Yeah.
And also Four Seasons branded residences and mansions are coming. What do you think about capital appreciation of branded residences?
There's a lot of opportunity, or there's a lot of potential for those branded, because even for the fact that if you experience it firsthand, that the people who's buying something like a Nobu brand, something like a Waldorf Astoria brand, those are already a customer of the brand. Having or hearing something that they're coming in Abu Dhabi, there are the first clients who are interested because they already have a trust in the brand. So if you're looking for something like an opportunity to invest on a branded one, because brand doesn't gives low value, it boosts the value of the property. For example, also for Vida, if you never mentioned about Vida in Saadiyat Island, if you're going to look at the project that they had in Dubai, everything went up. Some doubled, some 80%, 70% for having a Vida, first Vida in Abu Dhabi. And if you're looking for something like a safe investment with a prestige like the type of thing, owning a branded apartment, you can look at those properties.
Yes, and Vida also comes fully furnished. So
Exactly. So it's perfect for investor, not just for investor, but also for end user, to really don't overthink or think about interior design. If I'm going to rent it out, where can I find furnitures? What are the good furnitures I will buy? Because Vida offers fully furnished. You don't have to worry anything. Once it's handed over to you, find a tenant, or they can also help you find a tenant. And also a lot of agents can help you find a tenant here. It's easy.
that's what we really want for investors. They just live abroad or they live here. They get passive income without any interference. They do not want to. They do not need to care about it. And I also believe that there is pro-tenant and pro-landlord markets. What do you think about Abu Dhabi market in terms of rental?
For me, it's a pro-landlord, definitely. Pro-landlord. Always pro-landlord. So right now, we are experiencing landlords are very happy with their investment. I don't know if you try to speak to any of the landlord who's not unhappy. They are really happy right now, and they are always investing. They're the first top priority that reinvesting because they already experience being a happy landlord. Their income is
Of course, it's 0% tax. They
yeah
get 1 year advance payment.
yeah
That's very important
yeah
because not in every country you can get like this. You are not getting monthly payment. You get 6 months in advance, one check, and second check will be also with you, and you are very protected. Sometimes you can make a contract not only for 1 year; it can be 2 years,
Yeah.
especially if it's villa, right? So
Yeah.
it's very important to have a good tenant for a
Yeah.
couple of years. So in this market, a landlord is fully protected, and you have security deposit, everything is official, contracts, and there is 0% tax. You're not paying for the bills, electricity, water, your tenant is paying. Only there is a service charge that the investor is paying.
And then of course the it's a pro landlord because they're not finding their own tenant. Agents are helping them finding a tenant. In iBuy Real Estate, we do screening for a tenant. So if you are a landlord who's listening to this video now, we screen our tenants. We want to make sure that we bring good tenants for you with good profile, something that can afford, something that I can afford like 1 to 2 payments. Because most of the time here in Abu Dhabi, just be honest, realistically, most of the landlords are demanding 1 to 2 payments now. So it's very rare to find someone who's gonna accept 4 payments. But for iBuy Real Estate, we do screen our tenants. And if you have something like an upcoming apartment or a townhouse who's looking to find a good tenant and you have a bad experience with your agent, we're here to help you. And we're here to really find you, make sure that you're happy with your investment.
So I come to Abu Dhabi market, I buy an apartment, I rent it out. What about resale? How can I find the best exit strategy? And when I say exit, that doesn't mean that I just buy, invest in Abu Dhabi and leave. After that, maybe I will reinvest my money. So in terms of the exit strategy, when is a good time to resell? How to get the most capital gains?
So the exit strategy, there's no such thing for me. For me personally, I don't believe on some kind of an exit strategy. But obviously, if you have a good relationship with your agent, the agent is always there to guide you, update you month to month or 2 months every month happening in the area. And he knows what's going to be the future. If this is the best time to exit, then your agent will be the one who's going to tell you, not you technically. Because if you are having an income with the rental, why would you sell? Because there's already you're already getting amount of money from the rent. But obviously, if you have a very good agent who not just vanish after a day that you close a deal, then he probably tell you, Mr. Landlord, the market is really booming. We have a lot of demand buyers in the market right now. We have a lot of clients. If you wanted to exit now, it brings you this amount of capital appreciation from the time that you bought it. It depends on the advice of the real estate agent because it's our duty and responsibility to inform them about what's happening. They've been very busy with their own stuff. They've been working, so they don't know the market. Even though there are our landlords or there might be some sellers that knows better than you, but of course they are just saying it. But real estate agents or brokers are the one who knows the market really.
You're right. That's why we should trust a professional. Every time we go to the dentist, we trust blindly to a dentist. That's the same that works with the real estate. I do believe in it. And that's really nice to be informed about the market when somebody buys a property with you and you are keeping them updated about the areas, about the news, and this is how it's gonna go. And I know we have investors who started with us with 2 million. Now they're reaching 27 million in their investment portfolio. They buy, they resell with us. And this is how it works. It's not just one purchase that you're doing. You are getting money, you're reinvesting. Even if you bought something, you rent it out, you see that it's time to resell and enter the new project as well. So this is how it goes, and this is how investors are getting their investment portfolio. And I think that this is the best choice to do, to diversify it, not just buy all apartments in one area, in one building. Of course, if you just buy in one floor, it's very good option. But try to diversify it. You bought a townhouse buy an apartment. You bought a studio, buy a 2 bedroom, and see how it goes. If you can give to a seller one piece of advice how to make their property stand out, what would it be?
First thing is that I buy real estate work differently for majority of the agency in the market. So we don't work with to fill something in our pocket. That's the one thing that I admire about our company. We work with the sellers. We work with relationship rather than our own personal gain. So if you are a seller really wanted to have to someone who's looking for someone to take care of your investment, I think iBuy itself can really provide that. But having a standout to most of the majority market, one advice or one tip, I mean, that I will tell you is that, let's, for example, you own a property in a villa community or a townhouse community. There is a 2 bedroom mid unit, there is a 2 bedroom end unit, and there is a 2 bedroom corner unit, rather than it's a double row or single row. Even if fact that your property is in a middle row, mid unit, you have to make sure that you have an agent who can advise you how to make your property unique, because unique brings selling point. So if your property is just a standard one, which is handed over by the developer, you have to make sure maybe you can upgrade the kitchen a little bit more. Maybe you can change the ceramic flooring to a wooden flooring, because there are some people who wanted to buy that they don't want to distress themselves to renovate themselves, the apartment or the property. So you have to be very unique in terms of your property, because that is already your opportunity to make it unique. But if you just wanted to sell it as a standard as what you get from the developer, of course, it doesn't bring a lot of value. If your unit is middle row and double row, it can go up more than the price of a corner if the corner is not maintained or never been touched. Just to make it's all very important to be unique, not just in a property, in any way of life. Unique brings value.
I know that during COVID, some investors, they bought a villa, they built a pool, and they sell it was like 300 or 500,000 premium within 5 months. And this is how you understand the demand. During COVID, you cannot go to the public pool, to a beach club, right? So everyone, you're targeting villas with a pool.
Yeah, because if you're spending, let's say for example, you're spending 20,000 or 50,000 dirhams to just make your house beautiful, but you can sell that as twice or thrice of how much you spend. So for example, your property is 4 million and you're gonna spend 50,000 to make your apartment unique. You can sell that property for easily at least 4.150 because of that upgrade of the uniqueness of the property that you made in your property.
I know that it's very popular in UAE. People are buying a property, they are upgrading, and they flip it.
Not in Abu Dhabi. In Dubai, yes.
In Dubai.
You may say there's a lot of people who's trying to upgrade their property, but not in Abu Dhabi. So if you are one of the sellers here in Abu Dhabi that haven't started this trick or this option, then you must have to start this.
But now we see inquiries for old villas from people. They want to buy old villa and upgrade it.
Yeah, because old villas give them size.
Yes, and they can do whatever, like to make it look amazing, and after that resell it.
Yeah.
So this is also one of the strategy that we can recommend to our investors.
Yes, definitely.
So you can buy a property and upgrade it. It should not be necessarily an old building. It can be a new building, but you are doing the finishes, exquisite interior, furniture.
So for example, because we're talking about Yas Island and Saadiyat Island, so if you cannot afford the 4 beds in Saadiyat Lagoons or let's say Hudayriyat, you have options like West Yas. Older villas, like been there since 2016, but doesn't mean it's old. You can still do a lot of things inside the property. You can upgrade it, and you can make most amount of your money through the upgrades.
Yeah, that could also work, and it can be the best choice for somebody who would like to save their money and renovate it as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Which nationalities driving the strongest demand in Abu Dhabi?
Oh, Indian is I think the one of the top investors now. A lot of influence from Russians since 2022. And now the UK people are also coming here, French, most of Europeans. But of course, there's still market in the Asia, Middle East.
I see the demand.
Chinese.
Yes,
I've
Chinese
seen
people.
like for the last 1 year, I've seen a lot of Chinese people are coming here. Chinese are very smart when they're investing to a place where they see growth, potential growth and development. So there's no brainer not to pick Abu Dhabi as one of their choices for investment because we've seen tremendous growth in Abu Dhabi.
And also, there are people coming from Germany, from Australia, from Canada. And I know that the main reason people are moving because of taxes. And even in Australia, you need to pay 47% on when you sell your property, like capital gain taxes. And this is what really attracts people because UAE is a tax haven here.
It's a tax haven, there's no capital gains, and obviously the ease or how easy to own a property here. If you're going to Europe, if you're going to the US, if you're not a resident, or you can own a property, but you cannot get same things. You cannot get the residence. But the ease of owning a property in Abu Dhabi is undeniably way far process from the European countries.
Absolutely. You get a golden visa when you invest. You can get just a residence permit if it's below 2 million. And this is how investors are really attracted because they are not only buying a property, they can come here, they can have a staycation here when they come and join. And by the way, for some people, it's very important to come and check on their property. Even if there is property management company here, they would like to come and check how it goes, if everything is fine. And we have a lot of direct flights for it from many, many countries, thanks to Etihad. So you can
Is it sponsored?
Yeah, so it's really convenient to travel. We live here and we are in between all the countries and destinations. It's like sometimes 4 hour flight to Cyprus, 4 hour flight to Maldives, 5 hour flight to Istanbul.
Yeah.
So it's very close by to the vast majority of destinations. So you can come anytime. You can also have a look at your property if you're renting it out. You can also have some time to come and live yourself during your holidays, during winter season. Better not to come during summer, maybe. Better to choose winter season. So in this point, you have accessibility to your property and you can come and see, and you have a residency. For example, if you buy a property, a residential property in the United States, you are not getting a residence permit for the purchase. And here we are getting the residence permit when we are buying from starting price.
Even whatever price that you're buying, you can get a residency visa. But of course, there's a golden visa and the regular visa. But as an investor, of course, whatever property that you buy here under 2 million, you can get 2 years renewable investors visas already. But if you wanted to have more, like 10-year, you have to pay 2 million above to get the residency visa, and that will give you the opportunity to sponsor all of your family members.
So you can also include your family members
Of course, of course. It's not just like there are so many misperception about the golden visa rule. So whenever you buy a property that is 2 million, at least that's a liquid. That you paid 2 million on it. That's the asset already, the value of your asset. Then of course you will be qualified for the golden visa, and you can sponsor your wife and your kids.
So a golden visa for the whole family.
For the whole family.
And you can enjoy holidays in UAE 24/7.
I have assisted so many clients who moved here to Abu Dhabi. They don't have work in Abu Dhabi, that they have business remotely in Abu Dhabi. Like they just rented an office here, like 2454. They can have their own office here as well. But their business runs remotely, even in the UK, even in Russia or Moscow, even in Singapore, the Philippines. They can still have a visa here. They can still have. And of course, they're bringing their company here to Abu Dhabi because of the zero tax. Because if they're going to have their license in their country as their business, they have to pay taxes to the country. So what they did is that they opened businesses here or economic license here just to avoid those taxes that their countries are they're asking.
It's beneficial for families, it's beneficial for the business, and this is how Abu Dhabi is and Dubai is getting the most out of the benefits that we have here.
And I just wanted to also add the additional benefit of having an investor not just residing here, because everything is really seamless, one click away from your mobile phone. We have TAM application, we have diary on our that we can have on our phone. Whenever you are there outside UAE, you can still manage or you can still do transaction in Abu Dhabi. But what I suggest is that you can hire a property manager to manage your property. Like I buy real estate, we can do manage your property from maintenance, from contracts, from tenant renewals or tenant screening, and we can send the money whenever you are in the globe or in the if you're still in the other country.
That's important that UAE is technologically advanced. So we have all the governmental websites, and you can log in with your Emirates ID, UAE pass, and you can access whatever service you need. That's very important when you come to a new market to have everything fast and accessible 24/7, so you can apply and do whatever you want with your property, even if you are not in the country. So that's also important, and it protects the investor. If you are talking about rent, we have two types of rent. It's like short-term rent as Airbnb, and we have long-term, like 1 year contract. So there is two options. I have a property. Which one would you recommend me to go for?
Well, it depends on what type of investor are you looking. So if you're looking for security, so you have to go with the long term because you are secured already for 1 year. So you already calculated the return on investment that you are making through the rental property. But if you wanted to have higher risk but higher reward, you go with the short term rentals because it can go more beyond what you are getting for a long-term lease. Now, in terms of the area, I would suggest if you wanted to have more short-term rentals, you have to look at Raha Beach and Yas Island. We're more closer to tourist spots, or even in Saadiyat Island. But for Reem, for example, I think you have to go with something like a long term because most of the people or the clients that you might be having are those who are working in the offices there. But again, high risk, high reward, short term. But if you wanted to have flow of money, then long term.
What about villas? Because for apartments, it's not that hard to find a tenant, but I do believe that for villas, it takes some time to find a tenant.
It's gonna take a lot of time to find a tenant in villa, but not today. Here, and realistically, here, even in a townhouse or a villa, many people are looking, but they couldn't find anything. We're still very short in terms of number of townhouses and villas in Abu Dhabi. If you're gonna look at the numbers in Yas North, wherein there's Noya, there's Yas Acres, like it's really hard to find an availability. If you're gonna look at the property finder right now, or by youth, you might be seeing 4 or 5 listings. There might be duplicates because of the demand. So, but that is a good choice for a long term investment or long term tenants, because most of the tenants that you will get for townhouses and villas, that's a long term. They are not seeing themselves staying just for 1 year, apart from relocating from a job in case that they will be relocated by their company to work outside UAE. But most of the people there who's renting, they're looking at least a minimum of 2 years. So security, you are secured that you will get your return on investment for those. Apartments, of course, will also give you a very good return because there are still people wanted to have accessibility closer to the work or have the taxis available in the everywhere. Because if you're gonna live somewhere in a townhouse community or villa community, accessibility might be very difficult compared to something apartment or buildings which is closer to the public transportation.
Also, I know that luxury villas in Hit Saadiyat, they are in high demand. Even if they are renting it out for 1.5 million, there is a demand, and there are clients who'd like to rent a villa in Hit, but there is no availability. But how long does it take for an owner to rent out a townhouse or a villa on average?
No, in the average in today's, if we're just talking about today's market, it will just take them 1 to 2 weeks to get it rented.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
We
But
are
of
talking about how
course,
many beds?
oh, even 2, 3, or 4 bed. But of course, it depends on the landlord. If the landlord are asking above the market, it will still it will stay for a month or two for sure. But if there is a proper guidance from a real estate agent, this is the market. This is how much we have to put it in the market. If that's the price that we're asking as a landlord, then it can easily be rented in 1 week or 2 weeks time.
What is the best months to find a tenant and make the start of the contract?
Are you talking about the villas or townhouses or general?
In general.
Oh, I think in Abu Dhabi it's every month. Every month there's a demand. I've been doing leasing. I will never lose any business in every month for the rentals. There are people are really looking, really looking. It's not about maybe summer, during the summer, August, wherein you'll have less movers because they are having a vacation. But there are sometimes you can get also tenants during the summer because big families wanted to move when their kids is having the summer break on the school. And also Ramadan, based because of the culture. People wanted 2 weeks before Ramadan, made the numbers of people wanted to move is less. But again, this is a multicultural. We have over 200 nationalities in the UAE. So still people wanted to move even during the Ramadan. But for of course for our Muslim brothers or and sisters, they wanted to stay in the apartment as much as they can until the end of the Ramadan.
Yeah, one time I remember I was looking for an apartment. It was the end of May, so before summer. That's quite surprising, and I found an apartment. And one was at the end of December. I thought I will not find anything because that's the end of the year and nobody's gonna rent, and no one has the end of contract in this period. But there is, and you can find any year a tenant, but maybe, as you said, it's better for the season prior to school. So especially if it's a family, they are probably on a vacation, and before the school time comes, and it's not like 1st of September, it's maybe the end of August, right? Which dates usually for school for kids?
For kids, August is like
End of
starting from
August.
July to August, the end of August, and then it's beginning of September. August 25 is like the start of the school year. So yeah, July and August, you will see a lot of families wanted to secure their home, and before they go even for a trip, like 2 weeks, 3 weeks trip. So or apart from others, there sometimes they go on the trip on the very beginning of the summer, and then by the last 2 weeks of the before the school start, they are serious on looking to move. Yeah. So but for rentals here, there's no off season for rentals. Every day there is someone is living in the apartment and someone is waiting to move to that apartment.
And I know that people they start looking maybe 3 months in advance sometimes, and we have listings,
Yeah.
and they say like it's tenanted and you can start from
Yes,
October,
definitely.
for example.
Definitely. But what I advise for most of the tenants who's watching this video is that, try to speak with the agent first, have a consultation with the agent to understand the area, because property is just easy for the agents to find. The most important thing is just to know and understand what you're really looking for and which community you want it to be. And the agents will really help you. But if you're just choosing the right agent to really assist you is something that you have to do, because the agent can help you with that.
Do you recommend investors to buy a furniture or to rent it out unfurnished?
For me, I prefer unfurnished because of the fact that if you're buying a furniture, you think that the furniture is good, but other people don't think that the furniture is good. So if you wanted to have less expenses, rather stay your apartment unfurnished, because at the end of the day, you don't know which nationality or renting your apartment. They have different culture, they have different tastes in terms of the furniture. Maybe you're the one that you're buying occupying a lot of space in the living room, or maybe your bed is just too big for them. So just keep it unfurnished. Stay away from those expenses and let your tenant buy their own furniture. But of course, there are still market for fully furnished people that wanted to rent. But of course, for those who's renting fully furnished, you have a higher risk that they can damage the property inside your apartment. But of course, there's a security deposit, which is a good thing. We have a security deposit here. It's different. So if you're renting an unfurnished, you get 5% security deposit. But if you're renting furnished, some of the landlords or most of the landlords and property managers are asking 10% security deposit.
Yeah, I rented a fully furnished property because that was my. I wanted to have fully furnished without thinking about anything, how to furnish it. And I also left a security deposit. They said that something was wrong with the chair and they just took this amount of money for themselves. And I was fine with it. I am ready for it. You want to deduct the money, you can deduct. And this is how the investor, even in furnished apartments, get protected because they can deduct the money from the deposit that you left. And
But as an investor type, if you're an investor, unfurnished goes faster than the furnished apartments.
because furnished, they are renting out with premium, right? So
Yes.
it's more expensive.
More expensive, yes. If you did not price your apartment right as a furnished, like say for example, an unfurnished apartment is renting at 100,000 dirhams per year, and then you're asking 130,000 for the furnished. But when the tenants step into your apartment, you see 30,000 is not. I don't see 30,000 for the furniture that you put in. So I would rather rent 100,000. I spend 20,000 or 15,000 for the furniture, and I can choose my own. That's my experience because I've been doing leasing for over 5 years. So for me, an advice to want it to be a landlord, just keep your property unfurnished. Or if you wanted to furnish it, at least use a proper service or a professional to furnish it to make it neutral that caters more clients.
What was the fastest rent in your life?
Well, same day.
Same day.
So I have an experience in Reem Island where the landlord called me in the morning. It's available, and the tenant just left last night. I had a client who was looking for a one beds in Reem Island, and then we had a viewing in 5 p.m. and we close at 8 p.m.
Wow, that's
So
unbelievable.
yeah, so it depends on really on that's how quick it is. If you price your apartment well. But if you don't know how to price your apartment well, then of course the other clients might see other apartment before they will take your apartment.
What is the yearly rental increase in Abu Dhabi?
It's gonna be they can increase more than 5%. So if you have a tenant who's renting a 50,000 apartment, one beds, and the market says you can rent your apartment for 80,000, you just have to tell the tenant that for non-renewal, just give them a proper 90-day notice. You're not obliged or there's no fiduciary to tell the tenant that you're selling or buying. Just tell them that for non-renewal. And then you can rent that same apartment for 60% more if the market is asking.
I remember in my experience in 2022, in Bay's Edge Business Bay, apartment costed 72,000 for one bedroom, 2022. And I had to move from that apartment. And after that, I decided in 2023 to come back to this building. And for 70,000, I could only rent it a studio because one bed already from 72,000 costed 100,000 1 year later. So it's almost 20-30% increase. And I see yearly it's happening in Dubai. So what is happening in Abu Dhabi with the rent?
The same thing. It's the same thing. Of course, we cannot blame pandemic. Pandemic is happened already. So at the time, rentals are very low. But what we're experiencing during 2023, 2024, those were just correction. It's not something like it goes up because we experienced this pandemic globally, internationally, we experienced it. So what we experienced in 2023 and 2024 is that the correction were shoot the prices. And what are we experiencing now is the capital growth for those investors who bought the property at that time. So, and I think it's still going to remain flat or remain up. But right now, with the supply that we have in Yas Island or Abu Dhabi, I think it will stay this high.
Do you recommend people who just come to Abu Dhabi and they rent for a couple of years, do you recommend to start looking the price and buy?
Of course, of course. If you see yourself that you're staying in 5 years, there's no brainer not to buy because mortgage is very easy here. Like the loan to the LTV loan to value is 80%. So you just have to put 20% down to own a property. Technically, that the bank can give you 80% of the loan. It's a smarter way because rent, if you're paying let's say 10,000 per month in rent, buy something that is very similar with the price of the mortgage. So buy something that you can afford within the 10,000 per month mortgage because at the end of the day, when you pay 10,000 per month on the rent for 5 years, that's about more or less 600,000. So you throw that away. You paid mortgage towards the landlord. But if you are paying the same amount through a mortgage, at least you own the property. You can easily sell your property. You don't lose money.
Yeah, and this is how it works. We have demand in sales, we have demand in rent because new people are coming, new families are coming who already stayed for a couple of 3 years, they take a mortgage. New family comes, they
Yeah.
take a rent.
Yeah.
So, and this is like this circle, it goes
Yeah.
non-stop.
Yeah. But what I advise for most of the first time home buyers, renting is a good choice if you think to yourself that you will be staying only 2 to 3 years. But if you see yourself that's really staying here for more than 5 years, the best choice is really to buy. It's always there's study that always saves you money if you think that way, because but there what I advise for most of the whole first time home buyers, don't go beyond your budget. So if you are comfortable paying 10,000 per month on rent now, buy something that will charge you 10,000 dirhams per month also on the mortgage. Don't overspend.
Yeah, that's a very good advice.
Yeah, because most of the time, when most of the buyers they said, "Oh, I can afford 15,000," but what's going to happen? That's the risk that you wanted to throw away, and stay on the risk that you wanted to stay.
But at the same time, if you take a mortgage, you pay for it, you can sell anytime. Yes. You can sell anytime and buy something smaller or buy something bigger and mortgage it as well.
Yes, definitely. It's easy to sell. That there's the question here is that how difficult for me to sell. It's easy. But if you're gonna sell the price more way above the market, of course it will sit 6 months, 1 year, even 2 years forever. But if you have a real estate agent who represent you as a seller that carefully do the CMA or the competitive market analysis for you, where the buyer market are, then obviously you can sell it in less than 1 month or 1 to 3 months maximum.
Yes, one of our client, they bought a villa that was smaller than they wanted, but they bought, mortgaged it, it appreciated, and now they are selling it and buying bigger villa in a different area that they want. So while they were paying the mortgage, the price appreciated, and they even got premium for what they have.
Most of the first-time home buyer I work with is that they have the fear of losing the job, or what if I'm going back to my country? So that's the fear that they have. But think about it. So if you're losing your job, you can have the mortgage stop for 6 months, right? Before it will go to foreclosure. So 6 months is a lot of time to sell the property, or a lot of time to look for a tenant to pay the mortgage. And even if you are thinking, maybe I might go home to my country and I will leave UAE, you can keep the property here, hire a property manager, and you're still having an income through the rental of the property. You can still pay the mortgage because at the end of the day, you're buying the property that is the same amount at what you're paying on the market. So if your mortgage a year is 100,000, if you can rent it out for the same amount, you don't have worry.
And I'd like to get one more advice from you for investors who are abroad. Just one advice for people who'd like to invest in Abu Dhabi.
Well, for those investors who are maybe in Paris, London, or New York, it's a good thing to own a property in New York. It's a good thing to own a property in London or UK, but you're not getting the numbers that really gives amount of return on your money. There, perhaps some are just getting 2%, 3%, or even break even. But if you're an investor who wanted to seek for growth and development, I believe Abu Dhabi personally. If you believe on Abu Dhabi, you would believe whatever investment that you're buying here, because what I can see for the last 5 years in Abu Dhabi, there are extensive growth, not just on the roads, economically. We are diversifying with not just relying on the oil. We have the AI now. We have financial center, which is Abu Dhabi Global Market, which brings a lot of people here, not just normal people, but high salaried people. Those high salaried people need a house. So if you wanted to be part of the growth of Abu Dhabi, buy an off plan now that will give you a handover by the period of 2028 and 2029. And trust me, it will give you at least 20-30% in return in the next 3 years.
That's really amazing. Thank you so much, Duke. It was really amazing to get to know more about Abu Dhabi real estate. And I am really admiring your experience in Abu Dhabi. That's important to know from your personal experience, like you live here, from your professional experience, and just to combine it and see Abu Dhabi as a whole picture.
Yeah. Thank you so much for inviting me on the podcast. This is my first time really talking over the camera, but I just wanted to be real. There's a lot of agents that really giving different picture of Abu Dhabi, but one thing I can advise you is that we work with integrity and we're very honest with the client. We don't do exaggeration or what they're going to expect because most of the majority of the market here, when you talk to a certain real estate agent, they just say your money will be doubled. But what are the facts? What are the numbers? What was the meaning of this? So, but if you wanted to be part of investing, if you wanted to have a capital growth in real estate, Abu Dhabi is the future, but with the proper guidance. That's what we're doing here. In iBuy Real Estate, we have a lot of team members that can really help you with your investment. We're not just looking after our pocket, but we're just looking after your relationship and your success as an investor.
Thank you very much, Duke. If you'd like to get top 5 upcoming projects in Abu Dhabi, please send us a message in WhatsApp and we will share with you. See you in the next episode.
See you.